Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're diving headfirst into the dark, hidden shadows of a massive IT project to uncover what I can only describe as a gripping corporate noir. We're going to break down this incredible firsthand account that completely exposes the true hidden cost of what so many companies blindly celebrate as a quote-unquote successful deal. So if you've ever sat there and wondered why projects totally fail behind the scenes while the spreadsheets still look perfectly fine to upper management, well, you are absolutely in the right place. Okay, let's dive into this. Listen to this quote. "Whoa, I could hear the project we thought we had won quietly falling apart." I mean, wow, right? That perfectly sets the tense, dramatic tone for our source material today. It really captures that terrifying, unseen collapse of a major project. It's that chilling realization where the victory lap is still going on up in the boardroom, but the actual foundation is already crumbling on the work floor.
All right, part one, a 200-person battlefield. The setting? Year 8 of a grueling career.
To really grasp how we get to that collapse, we first need to look at the narrator's situation. In their 8th year on the job, they were thrust into this massive, high-pressure cooker of an environment. Just look at this number, 200. Imagine literally being in a 200-person battlefield that is just plagued by complex, intertwined requirements and this invisible, crushing pressure from above. And yet, despite the swelling expectations for management, the frontline team actually stayed united. They banded together to somehow keep this massive machine moving forward.
Moving on to part 2, the hollow victory. Because every story needs its other protagonist, right?
So every story has another side. The guy who actually secured this massive deal was an infamous, so-called power-harassing salesman. The narrator literally kept their distance just to protect themselves, focusing purely on getting the development work done. But, in an organization, you can only hide for so long. On one side, we have his sales strategy. We later learned this guy won deals through super aggressive price negotiations. He extracted the client's pricing information, undercut it, and basically optimized his entire strategy solely for winning the contract. No thought to the aftermath. On the flip side, we have the development reality. Because of this aggressive undercutting, the project started entirely in the red. The head of development was basically left holding the bag, struggling to make it work under truly impossible conditions. It's a terrifying disconnect. We're securing the project and boosting the salesman's personal evaluation. Dooms the frontline workers from day one. So I really have to ask you, have you ever experienced this dangerous disconnect between sales promises and frontline reality? It's honestly a shockingly common tale in the tech and corporate worlds. While you kind of think about how this might apply to your own career, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button, click. Your support is absolutely crucial. It helps us continue our investigations into these hidden corporate dark sides and bring these structured explainers directly to you. Part 3, System Ruled by Cheapness. What happens when you start postponing the design? Well, because the project was won by those hyper-aggressive negotiations, a new role took over, a system ruled entirely by cheapness. The priority was no longer the actual quality of the system being built. The only questions anyone was asking were, how cheap can we make it, and how can we win? Let's see how this builds into a perfect storm on the timeline. On day 1, the deal is secured, a total victory on paper. But by month 3, because the actual design phase was postponed for the sake of cheapness and programs were forcefully layered on an incomplete structure, development is just completely in the red. By month 6, we hit total, absolute frontline exhaustion, limits are reached. But here's the truly terrible irony of this whole timeline. By year 1, when the project moves into the operations phase, profits begin to appear. The numbers actually balance out. The disaster is masked entirely, and the company somehow views it as a successful model. Which brings us to part 4, the salesman disappears. Prepare for a pretty shocking transfer. So you might be wondering what actually gets consumed behind the scenes of this so-called successful model, the human toll, the trust on the ground. And just as our narrator is witnessing this massive fallout right when accountability should have finally struck, an official personnel transfer was announced. The salesman didn't get fired. No way. He moved to another company as an executive. At a super young age, he achieved what the source describes as a descent from heaven, which is a term often used in Japan for bureaucrats landing cushy corporate jobs. But here it represents this baffling upwards failure. He just vanished into the executive suite, leaving the narrator completely stunned. Part 5, the real organizational flaw. Spoiler alert, it's not driven by logic. Look, this explainer isn't just about one bad apple. It reveals a chilling truth about organizational systems that are driven by power dynamics rather than cold, hard logic.
The real organizational flaw here is that the system actively rewards the aggressive win, completely regardless of the destruction left in its wake. Let's distill this down to the core business implications. 1. Short-term wins become long-term liabilities, every single time. 2. Price competition directly erodes design quality. And 3. Organizations move by evaluation metrics, not by what is actually correct or sustainable. These are just vital takeaways for anyone's career. And hey, before we move to our final thought, if you want to join a community dedicated to understanding and changing these toxic structures, please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button, dunk, dunk, dunk. We would absolutely love to have you with us.
So this leaves us with a pretty powerful ultimatum, drawn straight from the author's own resolution. Which side will you stand on? Will you be on the side that ruthlessly keeps winning at all costs? The side that quietly keeps supporting and suffering in the trenches? Or the side that decides to actually change the structure? The author vowed to take that first step starting tomorrow. Take a hard look at your own workplace reality and ask yourself which path you're walking. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I will see you in the next one.